record this.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 9 to 5 show. Or leaving your 9 to 5.
Welcome back to your 9 to 5. Ah!
We just do this from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day.
Yeah.
I'm down. I think of that song by Dolly Parton, like 9 to 5. Yeah. Okay.
It's a good one.
So today we're going to talk about money. Money.
Such fun.
Because it's like such a big thing. Like it's usually like the number one excuse, I think, for why people don't leave their 9 to 5. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's not really like the amount of money. It's like this, I think it's the security behind getting that weekly or bi-weekly paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. The security.
Yeah. I know like some people with like very thriving side hustles who like make more money on their side hustles than like I do on my full-time business. But like they just aren't going, they're not doing it because they love that paycheck. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. The mind, its job is to protect us. And so it likes comfort and it likes to pull us away from pain. So everything around us in our environment is telling us that you need money to survive. You need this job to survive. And so it's very much imprinted in all of us. This innate need for survival equates to just making money how you can and holding on to it.
Yeah.
So it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and it's just so fascinating too that so many people have a different idea of like how much money is enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've heard people say like, oh, I need 6 months saved up. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to take you like 3 years to save up 6 months of income. Just because like you have to pay your current bills and then you're saving, it's like,
yeah.
And then also like how high that amount is, like how much our like money threshold is each month, is also fascinating. Like some people are like, oh my God, I could never survive on like less than $5,000 a month. And I'm like, $5,000 a month? I'd be in Bali right now.
I know.
See you later. Getting me something Gucci or I don't know what, but I'd be out of control if I had $5,000 a month. Jesus. But that's that's how much they expect the universe to give them.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it just proves the point that it's all relative. Yeah. And we're all unique in like what we need.
Yeah.
And what keeps us going. So
seriously.
Yeah, there really is no right or wrong answer to how much you need to save up to make the jump, because only you know what's right. And a lot of factors come into play when you're deciding. I feel like, so we talked about last week Lacey Phillips and her To Be Magnetic Manifestation School and her company. Mm-hmm. And she talks about having the FU fund, which is at least 6 months, I think she recommends, right?
Yeah, she does recommend 6 months, which I personally feel like the amount that you save up has a lot to do with how strong is your side hustle? Like, are you already making income from it? So I think if that's the case, then maybe you don't need 6 months or, but yeah, I think she recommends 6 months. But like for her concept behind the FU fund is if you're going to live for 6 months with no income. But the truth is like once you start aside, like once you go out on your own, just the fact that you have all day to promote yourself just means like you're most likely going to get more clients on a very just practical level. And also just you're kind of like signaling, at least in her brand of manifestation, you're signaling to the universe like, hey, I'm doing this, so bring me my clients, you know?
Right,
I,
right.
like for me, I literally went from 1 to 5 clients, like within 2 weeks of leaving, which is crazy to me. Like, and it's just because I'm available now, right? Like I'm literally available. Like my time, like everyone's like, aren't you busy? I'm like, no. I'm the opposite of busy. I'm like, how many books can I read? Like, give me them clients, you know? So yeah.
That's great.
So,
That
yeah, go ahead.
um what you just said brought me to back to human design,
Mm.
and kind of coming into talking about energy as it relates to money. And so I can't remember if we talked how much we talked about this last week, but Morgan's a projector and I'm a manifesting generator. So
Mm.
we operate a little bit different energetically, but in what you just said, I feel like we can equate, it sounds, when we both jump full into our own businesses, we become more aligned with our human design and being projector versus manifesting generator. Do you feel that's true? Do you feel more projectory now, or you're
Oh
able
yeah. I mean, for sure. Like, I also weirdly, like my sleeping patterns are different. Like I woke up at 5 this morning, which to me is like insane. But like I woke up like very like, oh, it's 7 o'clock. Like I felt like it was later, but it was only 5. Like it's like I don't need quite as much sleep.
to?
Um, because I'm not like because like the projector, like us as projectors, or me as a projector, like our energy, like we're said to only have 4 hours of working energy per day. And so like we should be following like the Tim Ferriss like 4-hour work week idea. And I definitely find though, like there's 2 aspects to this. First of all, if I only work 4 hours, I do feel great. Like I will just say that. The other side is like I'm so conditioned to be working at least 8 to 9 hours a day. Even when I get down to 7, I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's truly an incredible feeling. Plus, now I'm doing things that like isn't really work to me. Like this, for example, I don't consider this work. This is like super easy, you know, and like just
Yeah.
talking to people is easy for me. It's not work at all. No, I'm not saying that's the same for every projector. You know, sometimes having conversations is super depleting, but um, I just, yeah, it just feels so good. But as an MG, how does that work? It's funny, I don't actually know this.
So how does it work to be an
How does
MG?
like your energy work around working?
Yeah, so I've something that was really bumming me out when I was working in my 9 to 5 was that I was finding I had absolutely zero energy to do anything I wanted to do, to work on my business, etc. And I felt extra discouraged because I knew I was an MG, a manifesting generator, and we're known to be like the energizer bunny that we just go and make and do and generate and manifest. You know, it's in the name. And I was so not feeling that. And that's because I wasn't aligned with me. Like it so was not me in the job I was doing. So once I took the jump and trusted in my own energy and where it was pulling me, now I've definitely gotten into a rhythm. Like I love my business and everything I do also, and it's so much fun. And I just find myself like honing in and just generating and doing stuff, and like I'll forget to eat, or all of a sudden my stomach's like, whoa, you're hungry. Like, oh, I'll just, make something really quick and then get right back to it. Which, brings in the self-care element. But I've experienced this rhythm before in my life when I just felt more fulfilled and aligned. So it's cool to get back to that experience of just, you just kind of like, so I always have this image in my head of like the ideal me, or like the whatever me, a big part of me inside is just me locked in a big like open space warehouse or studio, just like painting or like doing weird things like through all hours of the night, and just like that that's part of my authentic self in my heart. So it's cool to be coming back into that.
Mm. That's really amazing. And as you were like saying that, you were like so lit up, you know. I love that.
Yeah.
See that. Yeah, it definitely. I feel just like so much less depleted. Also, I don't know if you find this, but like on the weekends, I used to have to take all weekend to recover. That's what
Yeah.
my weekends used to be. They were
Yeah.
pure recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like actually doing stuff. So my free time is more purposeful. Has more energy, you know, like just it definitely has and it's also interesting because what would have used to cause me a lot of stress is now just like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, sure. Like I was talking to my business coach and she was like, oh, you need to be doing more stories. And I was like, okay. Like that would have like a month ago been like so stressful to me. But like now I'm like, okay, like what else am I doing all day? You know? So
Yeah.
it just shifts your energy completely. Uh,
Mm.
you just start to be more playful too with your friends, and I find myself like connecting with friends more. So yeah, it's totally interesting. So in terms of like energy and money, how do you see that?
Yeah. So I very much believe energy is money.
Mm,
And I have personally built up beliefs in my life that equate money to fear, just because I've seen it in my environment as a big stressor,
mm,
um, you know, as a child and through my life. So had, I say, because I've worked through this belief, um, this image of money means no love, or money is fear. And so therefore I was being driven by fear staying in my job before, because I had everyone else's stories and my own telling me I needed to stay there. But I know that abundance, it, for a long time, I'm just, disclaimer to the viewers, I've been skeptical of like the whole, and like annoyed by the whole, like, abundance and a law of attraction and vortex and all this stuff, all the woo-woo talk around money and abundance. Oh, you just need to like envision yourself in a pile of money, whatever. I get that feeling. And I'm, maybe, no, I don't know. Anyway, money is energy, and where am I going with this? Oh, well, anyway, I was a lot more afraid before taking the jump than I am now.
mm,
Um, and I still really need to generate income. And so it's a much more real situation, but I am much more at peace because I just trust in what I'm doing and in my plan to make that happen.
mm.
And really, like, for me personally, all I want to say is like, this is our fucking life, and like, trust yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're telling yourself, like, if you have like 2 months saved up, let's say, and you're like, all your momentum is telling you to just make the jump, you're gonna figure it out. You're
Mm,
gonna find a part-time job if you need to. You're gonna do whatever you have to follow your heart. Okay, like that. Bottom line, we just need everyone to like trust themselves in the world, and everything would be much calmer.
yeah.
So yeah, that's me trying to talk about money and energy.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah, Morgan, how do you feel about it?
I so for me, I kind of have the opposite. I've always had a high, like, as Egar, what's his name? Harv Egar, who wrote The Millionaire Mindset, like the money blueprint, like we're essentially what we're like programmed as kids to like, and I suggest that book for everyone as a little bit of a disclaimer. It comes from a little bit of place of like white male privilege.
Mm.
So, you know, take it, like there are things you have to adjust a little bit, but like when I was reading that book, he talks about the money blueprint and what we're programmed to get. And for me, the income is there. My issue is spending it. Like today,
Mm.
for example, like me and my roommate, we're going to get haircuts because we have Rona hair. Like we neither, like she hasn't gotten it cut for like a year. I'm like 9 months. Like it's gotta happen. Like my hair is like needs a cut. But like I am like terrified of spending the $50. I'm like, oh my God, can I afford it? Oh, what am I gonna do? Like, and I'm just like, well, this is crazy, you know? Like you're spending all this energy on like spending $50. You need to get a haircut. You budget. You're fine. Like relax. So for me, there's the fear around spending it, and like I can like hoard money a little bit and like, and then binge spend, like kind of a thing. I mean, it's not out of control or anything, but it's like that stop and go. And so feeling okay to spend money has always been something that I'm working through, which is like fascinating to me because I can see that like in my family, like the fear to spend, even if it's on something that like, you know, is necessary in life, or like I really I really want an alarm clock because I'm using my phone as my alarm. And like that's terrible because then my phone's right next to my bedstand. It's on my bedstand. I'm picking it up. It's the last thing I do. First thing I'm doing in the morning. I need to get it out of my room, but I need an alarm clock.
Yeah.
Literally like spent like a week being like, can I afford an alarm clock? Like, and it's like $13. Like just buy it. Right. So, you know, that's where for me it comes in. But yeah, I think it is energy, and also abundance is everywhere. And I think this is one of the things that's cool about going out on your own is like all of a sudden you have an abundance of time. You have and when that happens, I felt just a lot like calmer. I also like to just point out too, like we have an abundance of so many things, like an abundance of food. Like you can go to the grocery store and buy so much food. Um, it's actually incredible. I challenge everyone, look in your closet. You probably have an abundance of clothes. Like if you're in the United States, most likely, even like when I was like at my poorest, I had an abundance of clothes. You know what I mean? So just like look for the abundance in your life and try and get into that mindset as much as you can. I know that sounds like it is privileged for me to be able to say that, but I do think though that it is a good mindset to have, and just to be like, I have an abundance of love, and then allow the money to come to you. You know, it's kind of weird. There's so much trusting, and it's so hard. The trusting is like, I don't know if you feel that, Sarah, at all.
Um, yes, I not currently
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like really in the midst of it, and I'm just like, well, of course I trust
Yeah.
because I've allowed myself to get there and put myself on the path where I am most genuine in me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it to get to that point is like, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so fascinating. So what were the other 2 points we had written down? Or why by we I mean you, because you keep
Um, we kind of covered the first two. So yeah, how much is enough? Money is energy, and then tactic.
on how to save.
Yeah, how to save. Yeah, how
Yeah.
to proceed. I don't know. Just tactic came to mind.
Can I go back to the income thing really quick? Because I have
Mhm.
something that I use that was really helpful. Because first, like, I just want to say one thing about the how much to save. When you go out on your own, you do want to cut as much expense as you possibly can. It's not the time to have Netflix, Hulu, HBO. Like, it's just not. So do what you can to cut your expenses. Like, when I like, my goal was to just have rent, utilities, Spotify, because I consider music to be a mental health necessity. And like, but I'm like, using my friends' Netflix and like, I did bring down my expenses as much as I possibly could. And then when I calculated the amount I needed each month, I like just added up all those expenses and then saved for that amount. I didn't save for my income because, you get more income hopefully than you're using on just purely expenses. So, that's how, so I saved enough just for my expenses each month.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to match my income. And I kind of did that on purpose too, because I actually was thinking, if I make this too cushy for myself, there won't be as much of a incentive to like work hard. That didn't end up being true at all, because I'm not working hard. I just want to like coach as many people as I possibly can. And I have that like that love of coaching that's driving me, not a scarcity mindset, but that's what I was thinking. And I kind of encourage everyone to do that. I don't think you should try and match your previous income personally. I think you're going to be saving too long. And I don't really think it's necessary personally, but that's just my opinion. And obviously if you have kids, this is a different discussion. Like, you need to probably save up more than just 3 months, stuff like that. Anyway, I wanted to add that tidbit because I think a lot of people try and save for their income, and it's very hard to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did the same thing. I went through all of my expenses that need to be paid each month. And I kept in stuff too, like Spotify or, things that really make all the difference. And that's what I saved for, that plus groceries,
Yeah.
Gotta
Do
eat.
not forget groceries. Seriously though, people forget groceries, and and actually I say add a little bit. Like, if you are only spending like $300 a month on groceries, add 400, because food is a necessity. You have to eat, and you don't want to be getting into your rent money for food and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely do that. And also, just become aware of how much you're spending on stuff. Like, do a week journal, see how much those coffees are adding up to, you know what I mean? And it's not to shame you, but I do think as an entrepreneur, you have to become radically understanding of your finances. You can't be one of these people who just pays for a gym for 9 months. And doesn't go. Every money you spend means something, and there's a importance to it. I think for me, the reason that that's really important is because it's respect. Money is to be respected. And it is how our world goes round, even if we don't like that. So, I think it's like really important that you understand you're very much in control of your finances, obviously in a healthy way, but yeah. Yeah, I just want to.
Very good point. And then, a little cushion for gas if you have a car, and if anything pops up, miscellaneous.
Yeah, like a little emergency fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so how to save. This is the big question, right? How to do it. How did you do it?
I was able to save up because I wasn't paying rent. So that was a big help, staying with my dad and his girlfriend during a lot of quarantine. So that was a big help for me, saving tax return, just saving like any extra thing that came my way.
Mhm.
And then also setting an amount for me each month of whatever I had to
Mhm.
spare in my income, then I would put it away.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much that was very much how I did it as well. Like, I was very blessed to get like that $1,200 check from the government. I actually got a very large tax return that I wasn't expecting. Um, so I highly recommend doing that as well. Birthday money, Christmas money, don't spend it this year. Yeah. Just put it away in that savings account. Um, and you'll get to spend it one day. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty of it. You will get to spend it. It's just you're holding off to spend it. I will say I recommend um, automation as much as you can.
Mm.
So when you're so there's two ways you can do this. And I know this because I used to work in HR. So if you're getting your paycheck, most likely it's through Paychecks, which is a company, or ADP. Either way, when that money goes into your bank account, you can actually allocate your total income to go into multiple different bank accounts. So let's say you're making $1,000 a month. You can tell your HR rep to send 500 to one bank account and 500 to another, or whatever you want to do. So this is a really cool way. You can have a checkings account set up for your regular expenses, and then a money market or a savings account set up where that $500 is going into, and you it's not that you can't spend it, but like, it's not going into your checking. So it's an automation. That's a really, and by the way, I'm making these numbers up just to like, um, kind of set an example. But I found that to be really helpful for me. It was like out of thought, out of mind situation. So yeah, and I think that's something a lot of people don't know they can do. But it is a great idea to just start doing that, just start putting money aside, knowing what your goal is. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that just came to mind for me, and this is going back to money, is energy, the energetics thing. Um, and this is my personal experience, but I used to spend a lot more frivolously when I was in my 9 to 5 job because it was a symptom of my dissatisfaction.
Ooh,
That
this is
that's something I would tend to do. Like I would at lunch go to this super expensive bakery that was gluten free, whatever, all these things, and like get a little something. I'd get a coffee. I would go shop at lunch because it's something that was a dopamine hit. And yeah, I used to spend a lot more when I had the income. So now I'm not. I'm at home, I'm doing my thing, I'm creating, and I'm not spending that money. So it's, there's that to keep in mind. It's not something you should count on, but it's just, being mindful of symptoms in your life and signs of, something's up. So if you're overeating, if you're overspending, these are all symptoms that, at the core, you're not addressing. So just, pause and really consider what's going on if you are doing those things. And if the more you move into trusting yourself and aligning with who you really are and what your passions really are and what you're here to do. We're all here to create something. We're all creators. We're all here to share our creative gifts individually. So just take the time to look at, what disruptions are going on and what little steps you can take towards trusting yourself more.
that was amazing. And it's such an important point. And just to like add on to that, when I decided to like really, that's it, I'm going out and doing this, I stopped drinking. And I'm just going to say right now, if you're spending large amounts of money on alcohol or drugs, recreational or not, whatever it is, it's still, you're spending your money on a dopamine fix, or on a numbing agent. And so, your money could be going towards much better things than that. Like, that's just how I see it. And so I highly recommend that if you are doing that, to start thinking about getting sober for a while. I'm not saying forever, but it's definitely a way to save money. Like, I'll tell you right now, guys, I saved so much money on just simply not drinking when I went out. And, in terms of peer pressure on this one, I just say no. I mean, I just really got good at like, no, I don't want that. No, I'm good. And I think it's a really important thing. And also, I used to go out so much more to restaurants. Now, of course, like COVID going into like all of that stopped, just ceased for a while. But me and my roommate, once like restaurants started to open up for like pickup and delivery here in Philly, we still kept a pretty strict rule of only one meal per week. And we would do that on Fridays usually because we were tired and didn't want to cook. But like, the thing is it definitely helped us like curb our spending on restaurants and things like that. And I was able to save up more money because of that. Now I realize, in a way, COVID helped me do that, because we were like forced to be home. But, now that we all know what it's like to be home all the time, ask yourself, instead of going out for a drink on a date, go for a hike. Like, there are free options or cheaper options, or just go out to a restaurant and don't drink or whatever. So I really do recommend that. When I hear someone tell me I don't have the money, and then I also see them buying weed, honestly, my first thought is, you do have the money. It's just not a priority. And that's fine, but understand when things are a priority for you and not. And I will say something though, when you get that taste of freedom, it's like, you can't go back. I could never go back. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you have to up level. And this is where a lot of the, we were talking about this last time. This is where the work comes in. This is when, if you find yourself drinking a lot and you stop drinking, but you feel massive amount of pain and hard things are coming up for you, you have to deal with that. And I know it's not as easy as I'm making it sound, but I don't know about for you, Sarah, but for me, like, once I decided I was going out on my own, I think it was like around early May, I was like, I had to go through the pain and the fear, and I had to work through it. I couldn't numb it. I couldn't just, suppress it. I really had to face it.
Yeah, that is the ultimate step in the work, is to feel the feelings.
Yeah.
And let them come out. Because otherwise they actually do physically manifest somewhere else in your body. And that's going to be disease or dis-ease of some sort. There's nothing wrong with emoting. It's really good to have a solid cry every now and then when you need to. Yesterday, I was really sad, and I felt like I was taking on, even though I've been holed up in my apartment, I can feel the feelings of the world right now, and I was echoing it myself. Like, when are we gonna come back together? And like, the little things, are like going to a museum, or like being out and just bumping into a stranger. All these things were just coming up, and I felt it. I allowed it to come through. That's important.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting because, just for anyone watching, like, we are filming this on Thursday, 2 days after the election, and like, we still don't know the results. So the air and we're both in Pennsylvania, which is like obviously a battleground state. So, the tensions are high. So I feel you too. Like, I woke up in the middle of the night Tuesday, and I just was like in a panic. and I didn't even know why. Like I was like so panicked. And I just think it was the world kind of, I was open, like I didn't do enough energy work that night to like close my aura, because it felt like an attack on my energy. But I just wanted to say like something that happened to me that's very interesting, is I've like since the beginning of this year, even before I made the decision, I've started to have all these amazing people in my life. And like my team almost. And even though I'm doing this job alone, I feel like I have a team, you know. I save every cent I could to have a business coach. I have a RTT therapist in Sarah, by the way, she's very good. You know, I have another friend who helped me a lot with confidence and self-esteem. I have my best friend who's like like honestly is like a PR expert and is an amazing person to like bounce ideas. Like I feel like I have this team of people forming around me. And I would encourage you, like, go out and find your team and barter, like barter. Like if you don't have any money, barter, like reach out to people, say, hey, look, let's switch. People who, you know, are in the same or similar space to you, like just starting out or about have a side hustle. You know, I really encourage this, build your team around you, be a member of everyone else's team. Like, I have a friend who is, you know, feeling a lot of feels right now. And I was like, girl, get on a coaching call with me. Let's do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's get through this. Like, let me help you, because she's given so much to me. So I really feel like, you know, gather your team around you and keep them close and make sure you're giving back to them. And I can't recommend this enough. You're not in this alone. Find your people who are going through the same thing. Like, it's literally insane to me, because I literally think like there's two women, Sarah included, who I literally met at the perfect time. Like I don't even know how it happened, but like if we're in the same space in our businesses, we're all a little bit, you know, like starting out, and we have this like, I don't know, like seeing you guys work gives me momentum, makes me feel like I'm a part of a community. So I really recommend this. Don't try and do this alone. You know, go to therapy if you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, so like I'm part of my business. Anyway, I love motivational quotes, and like I'm kind of steering my Instagram towards that, because that's the favorite content I like to see. But I picked up this book that I have, and was reading in it for quotes. But Lost Connections by Johann Ari. He's an amazing journalist, and he does a lot of like research on sort of mental health and addiction and depression. That book is all about how depression and anxiety, really the cause is not a chemical imbalance, guys. It's a lack of connection.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like that is literally all it is. Our world today is so disconnected. We're no longer tribal, which is just naturally how we are meant to live. And we have these facades of like this thing, which, you know, it gives us a little bit of a hit of the connection, but it's really not the full thing. So yes, I totally agree with Morgan. Like really, really, number one, try to connect with some sort of community. Even if it has nothing to do with your business, like you just connect to people. Maybe you can volunteer or just get the part-time job to connect with other people. Just do whatever you can, because and you're gonna like fight yourself to do that, maybe. Just do it, and then you'll come home and be like smiling because you were interacting with people. It's just a fundamental need we have. So yes.
I'll never forget, like I went to two like meetups for the Lacey Phillip community in Philadelphia last year. And I remember distinctly walking away from both, like literally I could not stop smiling. Like I literally was like, oh my God, I found my people. Like we just spent 2 hours talking about human design and manifesting. Like that was like the whole thing. Like I remember being like, oh my God, I want every conversation I have to be like this. And find that feeling, and by the way, I remember the second time, we were talking about really heavy stuff. Like it wasn't necessarily like an easy conversation. We were getting really deep with each other, but like I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And, something for me, it's like with so many of my like friends from my past, everything was so surface, we never actually told the truth to each other. And now that I have all these new friends, new people in my life, colleagues and things, there's so much honesty. Like me and another friend, we were, she was complaining to me. And I was like, maybe you should look inward here and see, why are you projecting this? Like, is there an insecurity here? Or, it didn't matter what it was, but like, I was really honest with her. I was like, I don't think this is the other person's fault. I think something's going on with you. And because I said that, she, I'm sure for a second she was a little annoyed at me, but like, she was able to up level and feel a little bit better, because once we take control of our lives, like it is ours. Like this is ours. You get one chance. If you believe in multiple lives, then don't waste this one. Like whatever
Right.
it is,
Right.
do something with your life. Like be the aunt who left her job and like lost a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like be the cool one who did the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my pep talk for the day.
Hell yeah.
Anything else around this for you, Sarah?
I just want to encourage your last point. Yeah, you chose to be here in this life. Whether this is the only life you got or it's one of a handful, whatever, you chose to be here. So continue to choose. Everything you do, you're choosing to do. Even if you're passive, you're choosing to be passive and to not choose. So you're allowing life to happen to you. All it takes is for you to change your mind. So it can be an instant, and that's all it takes. To keep up with a reprogrammed mind, I would suggest subconscious work and just reprogramming yourself and changing your thoughts and your beliefs, because it's all it takes. And like fear, the difference between fear and excitement is just, it's really minimal. Like all the physiological reactions you have going on are the same. So if you're like moving into something or you're really afraid and like you get really scared, just start saying to yourself, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked. This is awesome. This is great. Woohoo. And you're going to trick your mind into thinking, well, okay, she's saying it's great, so it's great.
Just to like add on some like a little story, because I think this is important. Like one of the things I've always had a lot of issues with is like calling in a partner who's like, on my level. I've talked to Sarah about this a lot, but like a partner that, doesn't have his own, or is working on his own issues and is conscious and blah, blah, blah. And for a really long time, I played the victim. Like there are no available men, and I just can't find him, or he's not out there, or whatever. And I was like, I have to take control of this. And sure, I don't know when he's going to walk into my life. Like, I really don't, right? I feel the interesting thing about it is like you have even less control than manifesting a career. But at the same time, I have to recognize that there is work for me to do. And there is a reason I keep attracting like a man who's not you know, who has issues and like isn't working on his own shit and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm just bringing this up because, you know, we have to take control of our lives, and we have to take responsibility for all the things that we do. And the minute you do that, you actually gain so much more control and so much more like abundance, because it's just there for the taking, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jack Canfield, who's the author of one of the authors of the Chicken Soup series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's like a really phenomenal like speaker and motivational person. He also wrote the book The Success Principles,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a book of 50 principles to guide you to success. And the number one, the first principle, which I have been honing in on this step for years, and it's really all in this, is take 100% accountability for your life. Period. That's really all you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I personally feel like we should end on that note.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. So everyone, will see you next week. And thank you, Sarah. This was fun as always.
Thank you, Morgan.